Hi, it's Damon Gettier with Damon Gettier and Associates Realtors. Finding the right house is easier for some and harder for others. What I will tell you is there's no perfect house. There's just not. There's no perfect house. The other thing I'll say, and this isn't even my script, but I'm going to go off script for a second. Don't ever let an agent convince you to buy a house. So in sales, when we say we sell houses, we don't really sell houses, okay? We sell ourselves, and we facilitate the home buying process for you. If you ever feel like an agent's selling you a house, get away from them as fast as you can, because the agent's not gonna make the payments on that house. Agent's not gonna raise their family in that house. Agent's not going to walk outside and say hi and bye to the neighbors in that house. You know, if you feel like an agent is pushing you to buy a particular house, run. Run, do everything you can to get out of that agreement on buying with that agent, because the agent should be representing you, your wants and desires. Now, if you come up to the agent and you're like, oh, I don't think it's the house, and you're looking for a new house, flat backyard, and you're in our market, Roanoke, Virginia, okay? You're not gonna buy a new house in Roanoke, Virginia with a flat backyard, okay? Those were all sold in the 70s. We live in the mountains, okay? Their job is to help you overcome some simple objections, like you want a house with a fenced backyard, and this house is the perfect house for you, except doesn't have a fenced backyard. Well, Mary, how much would it cost you to fence the backyard? Have you considered this house? If this house had a backyard, would it be the perfect house for you? Well, if it had a fenced backyard, yes, it would be. Let me get you some quotes on fencing. Let's see how much fencing is. Let's see if we can work it in the deal. That's not convincing you to buy a house. That's helping you overcome objections, okay? And the reason that's important is because there are no perfect houses. But when you're like, no, I don't like the house. Like, oh, but it's a perfect community. No, but I don't like the house. Oh, I know, but it's the perfect school system. I know, but I don't like the house. Well, we've looked at 18 houses, and you say no to every single one. I'm just telling you, this is the one. That's the agent you don't want. You need to get away from that agent, okay? Don't ever let anybody convince you to buy a house. If you have objections, they can talk you through them. Thomas Jefferson close is the easiest thing I would ever tell you. Do a T, pros on one side, cons on the other. Which list is longer? Pros list, cons list. And are your cons legitimate? Are your pros legitimate? It's the easiest way just to sit there and look at a house. Keep in mind, if you have a list of 10 things, you can get 7 of them, pretty good house. You can get 3 of them, not a good house. Just food for thought. When looking at houses, this is what I'll tell you. Your agent's gonna send you houses, and you're gonna pick which houses you wanna look at. I would highly encourage you to drive by the houses first. And the reason is, simply you don't wanna waste your time. Once we schedule an appointment to look at a house, we kinda have to go look at the house. The seller's left, they're gone, they vacated the house for you, and for us not to go will be perceived as rude. And I know where you might not care because they don't know you, it could affect our negotiation in the future, especially if you circle back to that house. Let's just say we scheduled a visit, 123 Main Street, you drove up, you're like, oh my God, that tree in the front yard, I can't stand it. No, we leave, they know we didn't look at it. And then you look for a couple more days, you're like, oh, let's go back to that one and look. We go into it, they knew we stood them up on the first one. It can affect our negotiations on that. So if we schedule an appointment, we're going to a house. You don't want to schedule an appointment on a house you don't like. And I can tell you that you can judge a lot by a neighborhood by just riding through the neighborhood. You can have this perfect little house you've ever seen. And then in the next yard, there's that metal teepee where they're pulling engines out of the Chevrolet. And the one next to it to the right, there's 2 dogs chained to the tree. You'd never buy that house in the middle of those 2. But if you set the appointment, we're going. So it's easier to ride through, see what it looks like, see what the neighborhood looks like. Do I want to live here? Do I not want to live here? Then schedule your appointment to go look at it. Anytime a client has done that, I've never shown more than 10 houses to a client. Anytime a client's done that, I've never shown more than 10 houses. I've only shown more than 10 houses one time ever. There was an out-of-state client who came in and he gave me the most ridiculous criteria in the world. He said, I want to live in Roanoke County. I don't want to spend more than X, and I don't want a rancher, and I don't want a split foyer. And I'm like, well, buddy, we got a problem, because if you want to spend X in Roanoke County and you don't want those 2 houses, there's nothing to show you. So he compiled a list of 37 houses to look at, and we looked at all 37 in a day and a half. And I will say most of them was less than a minute looking at them. Where he's from in Florida, a rancher doesn't have a basement. A ranch does. Weird. So he wanted a ranch with a basement. He didn't want a rancher without a basement. So anyways, ended up, he bought a ranch and he bought it in Roanoke County. When you're driving the neighborhood, some of the things you want to look for is look at the cars. Do the cars match kind of like what you drive? Age, style, whatnot? cars you drive? Are there any beware of dog signs plastered everywhere? Are there any no trespassing signs in windows, on fences, on trees, on doorknobs, anything like that? Those are things that kind of give you an indication of what the neighborhood might be like. One huge word of caution: don't buy a house that you don't like it the day you drive by it or the day you go look at it. I'll use me for example. When I first bought my house here, bought a house, and the next door neighbor was Fred Sanford. He was a retired fire chief in Roanoke, and he kept everything he ever saw. Like if he saw it, he kept it, and it was horrendous. And we bought the house, we got a really good deal on it. We're like, that's fine, we'll just call the city and make him clean it up. When I moved away from there 3 years later, it looked the same, if not worse. The city would do absolutely nothing about it. 10 years later, it looked even worse. 15 years later, it looked even worse. So don't buy something with the hopes or anticipation of making someone else change what they have. It's not going to happen. If it's not good that day, it's not going to be good tomorrow. If it's not good that day, it's not going to be good in a year. If it's not good that day, it's not going to be good in 5 years. And so don't buy anything. And if your agent tells you, oh, well, you can call the city or you can call the county, you can make them do it. No, you can't. Somebody already tried that, and guess what? They're selling their house now. It didn't work. Because if they could have got it done, they would have done it to sell their house for more money. So one huge note I'm going to give you on when you're viewing houses is any house you nix, any house you're like, no, write down the address and why it's a no. And the reason I'm saying that is this: if you go look at 5, 7, 10 houses, they are going to run together. And really, we don't need to remember the ones we don't want, we don't like. We just need to remember the ones we do like. And so the ones that you're going to nix them. And so my favorite way to do it is actually have the MLS printout. If I don't like it, flip it over in the back, put what I don't like about it, okay? Put an X on the front if you're out of consideration. They're like, why is this one out of consideration? Flip it over. Oh yeah, because it smelled like cat pee. Don't want that house, okay? Next. The ones that are in consideration, same thing on the back, put what you did like about them on the back. And so your goal is, if you go out and look at 5 or 7 houses, you can flip them over and be like, all right, these 5 are gone, these 2 are nice, which ones do we like this one and this one? And then don't hesitate. If you like 2 or like 3, and you're like, I just don't know which one, get your agent schedule to go back in there. I had an agent actually tell me recently, they were like, oh my God, they want to go see the house again. I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah, well, they just saw it yesterday. They're spending $500,000. I think I'd want to see it twice too, So, it's your money. It's your money. Remember, that agent's never going to make a mortgage payment on that house. You are. You need to love it. You need to love that house. And so, don't feel bad about asking your agent, hey, look, I know we just saw it yesterday. I know we saw it earlier today. Can we go take a look at it again? I'm down to these 2. I want to take a look at it again. And then go back and make sure the house you're buying is the house you want to buy. Do not convince yourself to buy a house. I have never once sold a house. Remember, we sold thousands of houses. I've never once sold a house that the buyer didn't walk in and be like, this is it. When you find the right house, that's why I tell people all the time, I don't sell houses, okay? I don't sell houses. I sell myself, and then I, facilitate you buying your next home. And how we do that is, we do all the background work. We schedule the appointments to show you. We negotiate the deal. We negotiate the inspections. We negotiate repairs. We handle the closing and everything, but we don't sell you a house. You buy the house you want to buy. And so when you walk in the house, it should be like, this is it. You and your significant other look at each other and you're like, yep, this is it. This is the one. And you start placing your furniture. Like when I hear people say, oh, this is my room, this is where we're going to put this is where we're going to put the couch, the dining room table here, I know that's their house. I already know it's their house. I don't have to ask questions. I know this is the house they're buying, because you walk in and it feels like home. And so if you walk in a house that doesn't feel like home, if you don't like it, don't convince yourself to buy it. There will be another one come on the market. Don't buy something that you don't love. One word of caution: all buyers at some point during the transaction experience what is called buyer's remorse. It just happened. You're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars here, okay? It's a lot of money. It's a big commitment. Remember, mortgage, the Latin term is pay until death, okay? So it's a big, big responsibility. Don't feel bad that you get buyer's remorse. Just breathe and talk your way through it. If you really, really, really are getting upset or getting stressed out, talk to your agent about it. What I wouldn't do is, anything to tank the loan, anything that, you could have legal repercussions for you. We have some people go off the deep end and go buy a car or something, then they get sued by sellers, they get sued by real estate companies for commissions, they get sued by sellers for damages. You don't want to do that. Buyer's remorse is natural. breathe deeply, okay? Call your agent, talk it through with them. Hopefully your agent didn't push you to make a decision. Hopefully your agent didn't pressure you to make a decision. Hopefully your agent talked through the pros and cons of that particular house where you put an offer on it. Woosah a little bit. Buyer's remorse is normal. Don't stress about it. Don't think, oh my God, I'm abnormal, something's wrong with me. No, it's normal to have buyer's remorse. Another thing to consider, if your agent takes you out more than probably 3 times, don't be surprised that they have a meeting with you. And the meeting is going to be, we used to call it coming to Jesus meeting, but the meeting would be this. Hey, look, you said you wanted X. I've showed you X. You didn't like X. I showed you more X. You still didn't like X. So either I don't understand X, or you're saying X and thinking Y. What are we looking at here? And it's just, sometimes we have to come back to the drawing board and be like, okay, this is what you said you want, this is what I'm showing, but it's not what you're saying you want. What do you want? And sometimes your expectations change. Sometimes you get out there and you're like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And you see this, you're like, I don't like it. It's not what I thought I wanted. And that's okay, but you need to have very clear communication with your agent so your agent knows exactly what you're looking for. And it's okay to change your mind. Again, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's okay for you to change your mind, but you just need to convey that to your agent so that they're doing their best job. They can put their best foot forward to help you find the house you're looking for. Our goal is to make this as easy and streamlined a process as possible for you. Our goal is to make this a hassle-free process, but it's a two-way partnership. Like, it's you and it's us. And together we're going to get there. And if we don't work together, we're not going to get there very happily. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, please reach out to us at Damon Gettier & Associates, brokered by Real. Remember, Project Genesis, tell your friends and family.